the things which impact the community around you and the society around you, and you will see it will have a cascading effect.
Shrika, can you give me your perspective as more a user of logistics or representing users of logistics?
The fact that India has been growing despite the constraints, imagine if we have all these facilities, what would be the impact on the India's international trade, and it's just not exports from India but also the imports, because both are facing the same constraints in terms of logistics. One more aspect I would like to add to the discussion about is the security in the supply chain management. Because of the terrorism involved, everybody accepts that the fact that there are constraints, and everybody also understands that the government, the business, and everybody is moving into to resolve this. At the same time, as a user, I would like to keep the security aspect in my mind when I talk to a 3PL or a 4PL, because ultimately it's my consumer who gets affected by it.
Last question to you, Ram. Should we have a government body for logistics that kind of looks at this from a more holistic perspective and can drive the changes needed faster?
It would make sense, Michael, if we have a regulator who looks into all the spaces together and decide. It may be too early for India because we've yet to see regulators in individual spaces which are strong enough. So while we will ultimately should be doing that and going into overall regulator who looks at everything, so the development in this area is faster and is helping business. This is one of the key bottlenecks. But having said that, I would say that first individual regulators have to come in place. And regulator itself for India is a newer thing. It's a, it's a liberalized era thing. Earlier, everything was given in the acts and government used to decide. So it's all started post-91. It's catching up slowly and gradually.
I think you should make sure whatever you can that you have no regulator, because most of the industries which have had growth are the ones where there was no regulator. So it's very, very important that put your own regulations as an industry body, and I think be extremely consumer friendly, and you don't need government to tell you what to do.
I want to thank the panel. I think we're going to end it here. Let me just make 2 or 3 ending comments. The first comment I want to make is that the rise of India is no secret to anybody in the world anymore. It's been more than impressive. I also think that everybody in this room believes that the future is even brighter for India. Lastly, but not leastly, I think the panel discussion proves that logistics can be an accelerator in the growth of India, reducing cost, providing better services, and promoting consumption in India and promoting export out of India, which can all just lead to even better progression for India.
The Indian freight transport system in the last year moved about 2.8 billion metric tons of cargo. Rail represents with it about 30% market share, which is registering the 840-odd million metric tons of cargo that was moved by the Indian Railways. Road, on the other hand, enjoys 65%. Now, eventually, in reducing the net logistics costs that we spend as a GDP, it would be imperative for rail to become more competent. Rail is not only the solution for cost efficiency in movement of product, it is the only solution for moving product efficiently. And efficiency here is not just about cost. Efficiency is about working capital tie-up. It's about economies of scale in movement. It's about making sure your subsidiary logistics costs like insurance, etc. are low. It's about ensuring that product doesn't get lost through pilferage and theft, which is a reality here in India. It's about basically getting more efficiency in the way product is moving. When we're talking about rail, there's a grave need to start thinking big and start acknowledging the potential of rail, not to just between the private players and between the government of India, which is absolutely imperative. But you can't make that solution for the domestic players until you have economies of scale. It is not about differentiation that we need to provide through rail, and that will only come when you're not basically marketing equipment, but selling and providing a solution through rail. And that will come through customizing the way coils are moved in this country so that it doesn't get spoiled through that journey. It will come through engineering different forms of containers where strapping, etc., can have maximum CBM utilization of those.